Hello everyone, this is Lone Wolf VR, welcoming you to some things I wanted to talk about. We have a lot of stuff coming out this month. August is literally jam-packed with stuff that's come out. If you look, you literally have a multitude of releases. I actually think we have too much stuff all at once because we've had like a pretty dead period, at least for me, for the last couple months where we haven't really had a whole lot of releases. And that's what I'm worried about. We have like an embarrassment of riches here with releases, but what about September or October? Like, I guess October, we already know that we're supposed to get Madison VR, which is good, but beyond that, we have a lot of exciting titles all coming out in August. So people aren't going to be able to buy all of them, and that's what I'm really concerned about. But starting off the month, we have VR Skater that's already dropped, and it's supposed to be pretty good. But for me personally, I'm not a huge skateboarding person, so I'm probably not going to be picking that up unless it goes on sale, I guess. But other than that, that's not a real big one for me. But it does already start the month off with something to look forward to. On the 15th, Green Hell VR drops, which that's one I've actually been looking forward to. I've had it on my Steam wish list for a while now, but I think the only negative of that is it's not actually the PC VR release. It's actually the Oculus Quest 2 version. So we're gonna be getting a port, probably a better port because we have stronger hardware, but a port nonetheless. I heard it's actually pretty good, but people that are expecting it to be the full release that we got for PCVR, you might be disappointed because it's more linear than the PCVR one. Though looking at that one, you had a lot of issues with performance on there and needing like a really beefy PC to make it work in the first place. So I don't think that's the biggest deal in the world that you have that. I'm probably gonna pick it up myself so I can play it and stream it, but beyond that, like, I don't know if everyone would be interested in it, but it is a good title. It's a crafting survival type of game. I haven't really looked into it a lot beyond that because I don't want to spoil myself. I haven't played like Song of the Smoke or anything like that. Though I plan on eventually getting it. I'm waiting for it to be on sale first. Then coming up on the 24th, everyone knows we have Firewall Ultra finally coming out, which I already have that digital deluxe version of that pre-ordered, so I very much look forward to that. I had Firewall Zero Hour that I put so much time into, and I'm hoping this one's just as good, if not a lot better, since we'll finally have it on a lot better hardware and with better controllers. But coming up on the 29th, we have Crossfire Sierra Squad coming out, which it's questionable that they're going to come out so close to Firewall. It's like everyone decided to come out with everything at the same time. That one is different because it's a co-op squad shooter. I believe it's up to 2 to 4, something like that. It might be 2, but I believe it's 2 to 4. So that one should be a good time if you just want to play co-op and you're not looking for PvP and you're just looking for a PvE. So that'll mix that up. I believe it's like supposed to be around $25, I believe. So it shouldn't be too bad. It's just not everyone's going to be able to afford to pick them all up at once. Of course, people could wait when we have dead months and they're getting tired of the other games and pick up the ones they did not. So it's not all bad. And the big question mark is we're supposed to begin Phasmophobia coming out sometime. Where's my cat jumping up here? What do you want, Bootsy? We're gonna have Phasmophobia coming out, but we don't know the release date yet. We know it's coming out by the end of August. We just don't know the exact date yet, so we're waiting on that one. And that's one that I'm really looking forward to see how well that's going to work. I played it on Quest via Airlink plenty of times, and there was a lot of problems with that, getting that to actually work very well. Come here. Booch, get down. Sorry, she's going to run into my mic. That's my cat, in case you're wondering. But I'm hoping it runs stable on here. The problem is we still have no kind of video evidence showing it running on PSVR2, so I'm wondering if it's, you gotta assume it's gonna be smooth when it comes out, but they haven't shown us anything yet, which is one of the big problems I've been having with Sony in general lately. Is that they don't want to show us a lot about PSVR2. I want them to finally get serious about this. They say they're serious, but we've had all this time passing. Well, how long has it been since they've really seriously given us PlayStation VR in a way that shows us that it matters? All the way back to I think it was one of the first state of plays, or even before that, when they had very heavy PlayStation VR footage on there. There was a lot of games on there. All the flat gamers complained, and ever since then, we almost never see it. We don't get they hide it. They literally hide it in blog posts. They don't want to have a lot of marketing on it. So who's gonna pick up the PSVR 2 if they make it seem like they don't care? Which what we're waiting on is we should have, okay, we have state of plays that show Spider-Man and all that kind of other stuff, and Spider-Man 2 gets one full state of play to itself and all that kind of stuff, while VR's like, okay, there's one game, skip it real quickly, and it's almost like it's gone, and then we get blog posts about them. If they want to show they're serious, they can have their flat stuff state of play, and then have VR have its own state of play. Let them know in advance, hey, there's the state of play that's going to be none but PSVR 2 stuff, and show us what they have. Show us all the games that are coming out, explain them, show us footage, show us gameplay, show us when it comes out, and let us know they're actually serious about it. Because if not, how is anyone going to know that they're serious and they're going to keep backing this thing? We had a slew of games that come out early. We got Gran Turismo 7, we got Horizon Call of the Mountain, as well as some other quality titles that came out, but since then it's been completely silent. Where are the next batch? Like, I don't even care if it's like a year and a half out. I just want to know what the big next title is coming out from Sony. I know we have like I said, Madison VR. I know we have Resident Evil 4 remake VR mode, but what about Sony themselves? Are you going to have another big game where a God of War VR or something like that? We need to know. They need to start really ramping up their marketing so we know that they're serious, that they're going to keep backing this thing, and say, hey, people that are going to possibly get this, my cat's coming up again, people that are going to possibly come up here, what do we have to look forward to? Be like, okay, you have this game, and this game. Like, holy crap, I can't believe this stuff's coming out, and we need to be ready for this. I have some solutions, easy solutions that would be cheaper to market, other than just having a full-up VR game, that would allow them to actually get titles out and it makes sense financially if they don't want to like jump off the deep end. My first one, Sony has a lot of IPs, a lot of dead IPs that they can use anytime they want. They recently had a TV show, I think it was on Peacock, Twisted Metal. It came out, and most people thought it was going to be crap because the trailer did not really show it in a very favorable light. And then, guess what? People actually really like it. And okay, so with the Last of Us show, you had a remake of the first game come out, and it sold like crazy. Okay, Twisted Metal comes out. Where is the game to come with it? We haven't had a game since Twisted Metal Black on the PS2. That's been forever. Why did we not get any kind of game to go along with that? Like, it'd be so easy, and have a VR game of that. Like, here's the solution. Twisted Metal 2 is probably the most recognizable Twisted Metal game ever made. Like, Black is really good, but Twisted Metal 2 is the one everyone really knows. It's the one I would know because I grew up with it. I grew up with Twisted Metal 1 and 2 and all that generation. Twisted Metal 2 is probably the one that's going to get all the nostalgia, and people are going to be like, wow, like, look at that one. So what they can do, I'm not even saying just make a Twisted Metal 2 VR game. completely remake Twisted Metal 2 from the ground up with modern controls, modern gameplay, and modern graphics, of course, and release that like flat so everyone else can play it, and then at the same time, or a little bit later, I would say at the same time, have it so the entire game can be played in PSVR2 as well. Have it be like 8-player multiplayer, so we can play VR gamers and flat gamers can both play it online together against each other. How fun would that be? You have different people being able to see through the cockpits and blow each other up. That would be a lot of fun for everyone, and I am here for it. I've been looking forward to that kind of thing for a while, and yet we still don't have it, and it makes no sense to me. Like, if nothing else, if they're scared of sales, the flat people, the flat gamers would buy Twisted Metal 2 Remake. They'd buy the drips as long as they don't mess it up and make it crap. But that would sell a lot of units, so they wouldn't have to worry about it. And then the VR would be an add-on. It would be an extra. And since they were making it in the first place, it wouldn't cost as much to actually port that into VR. And that's not the only IP they have that can work. What is something else that everyone has been asking about forever? All the way back to the PlayStation 4. It's like, where is this? And that would be Resistance. Like, we had, I got the first game, Fallen Man, when I first got a PS3 back when it was still $600 because of the Blu-ray player. And I really enjoyed it. Like, I actually give them props that what they did is they had the entire trilogy, tell the story they wanted, wrap it up, and that was it. They didn't keep it going. They didn't milk the crap out of the franchise. They told the story, and that was done. That being said, people really want it back. If they're not willing to make a new game, all they have to do is either remaster the trilogy or remake the trilogy, put it out flat just the same so people can get it, and then at the same time or a little bit later, just like Twisted Metal, add in a full VR mode so you can play all 3 games in VR. People would love that. They would play it, and that would give them a lot of content to play all at once. I don't know if they would want to do we're just going to release the first game and charge you $60, or if they would actually, do what we'd want to do and like have all 3 for $60 along with everything else. But who knows, they want to play games with that. But that would be a first-person shooter that everyone wanted to play. I don't remember if it actually had multiplayer, but if it did, that'd be another game to play in multiplayer, and it would be a lot of fun. There's actually one more. Of course, there's a lot more IPs they could do this with, but I was just wanting to grab a couple that I could think of at the moment. And the last one was one for PlayStation 3 as well. And it was it was only online that I actually played quite a bit, and it's gonna be Warhawk. When I actually got around to playing Warhawk, it was kind of like a Battlefield type deal where you had ground vehicles and you had all the, what else is it? You had the flying jets and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember if it was 16 on 16 or what it was, but it was crazy. It was a lot of fun to me personally. I really enjoyed playing it. You could get a lot of people together playing that and put it out, exclusively for PSVR2. And I don't think that would be too crazy expensive. Whether they remaster the one they already had or make a new version for that would be a lot of fun. And again, it's a known commodity. It's a known franchise that people would go on to buy. You can also say stuff like for SOCOM and stuff like that they could always do and have that flat in VR or anything else. People would buy that. They would have no reason not to buy it, but it is on Sony to actually decide if they want to do that, and thus far, Sony has not decided to do that. They've decided to keep us waiting for the most part. I mean, we have other games coming out later in the year. I don't know if it's going to be this year. Coming out eventually, like Bulletstorm VR. That is exactly what we're wanting, which is an old flat game that they're going to transition into VR. They've done that with all like the Resident Evil games, like 4, 7, and 8. And we figured they would do that with a lot more games, but they haven't, because I don't know, like, it makes all the sense in the world to do them because it'd be a lot cheaper. I don't know if y'all would remember this, but I can't remember the year, but on PSVR1 for Christmas, they gave us like a little gift, which was it The Last Guardian VR? But it was just like a snippet. It was like a 5 minute, 5-10 minute little teaser, so you could see the scale and stuff, and that was awesome. We were like, oh, we're eventually gonna get the whole game in VR, because I don't think that game sold very well after taking forever to actually finally come out. And it's not even a game I would have normally been interested in, but if they had converted that into VR, I would have bought it and played it, because the scale of that alone would make it really worth it, like to see it from a different angle. So all that needs to happen is for them to actually decide to put that out, and we would have a lot more content, a lot more games to play, and most importantly, it would make it so they don't have to spend all the resources and time and effort for a singular VR game and be worried, are we going to make our investment back? That's the solution. Of course, I'm not just saying only do that, because they knew that they're going to have to support this putting this out, so regardless, they need to make ground up VR games, but this is like an in-between, so we're not waiting forever. It's an easy solution, and I don't get why they haven't done it yet. And I wish, again, we got problems with other companies not doing that. Like, we're waiting for Capcom to bring out Dino Crisis forever, so I don't know what the hold up on that is either. But all we can do is keep hoping. So I was wondering, what games are y'all hoping actually come out soon as part of that? Like, what kind of flat games would y'all like to see be ported into VR? Specifically, Sony branded games. Like, Sony has a lot of IPs that they own and their studios have that they haven't made games for in a while. Twisted Metal was one of the ones that came to mind for me, because I love that. And it's not like we're crowded for combat vehicle games. We have like none. That just died out. They got overtaken by Vigilante 8, and then they just all died off. Like, we had Road Trip for a little bit, but then we have nothing. So, and this sounds so much fun in VR. If y'all have any more suggestions for that, just to go ahead and put it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.